that the Planned Parenthood organization cannot sue South Carolina over its decision to pull Medicaid funding because the group provides abortions.
Yesterday's Supreme Court decision has devastating repercussions for women's access to reproductive care, while opening the door to attacks on health care covered under Medicaid. At the Supreme Court and in the halls of Congress, Medicaid is under attack, jeopardizing the health care of millions of Americans. And Donald Trump and Republicans couldn't care less. I'm Curtis Bradley Brown, your host for today, Friday, June 27th, and this is the Daily Blueprint. Yesterday, we went over how Democrats are fighting back against the ugliest parts of Trump's big, beautiful reconciliation bill. And if you need a refresher, reconciliation is a specific legislative tool that focuses on the budget. Most importantly, reconciliation bills only need 50 votes in the Senate to pass instead of the usual 60, making it a sneaky way for Trump and MAGA Republicans to push through their dangerous agenda. The Senate's on track to begin voting on the legislation this weekend, with House passage potentially as early as next week. Democrats are fighting to stop Trump's big, ugly bill. With Democrats leading the charge, the Senate parliamentarian, the person who determines what makes it into the bill or not, struck down a number of Republicans' attacks on Medicaid, including a backdoor plan they had for an abortion ban. So this is huge. It could save millions of Americans from losing access to health care. Here's the top Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, Ron Wyden, explaining what some of this means.
Overnight, my staff on the Finance Committee got several of the horrible provisions removed from the bill. The first is a special Medicaid tax. Stripping it keeps the Republicans from cutting billions in Medicaid.
And to no one's surprise, Republicans are sore losers. They're pissed off. They won't stop fighting over provisions they want stuffed into the bill. And they're even calling on the Senate parliamentarian to be fired.
What I'm about to say, I do not say lightly. I don't like having to say it, but it needs to be said. The Senate parliamentarian, Elizabeth McDonough, needs to be fired. She needs to be fired by our Senate Majority Leader, Senator Thune.
The Senate parliamentarian's just doing her job. It's a nonpartisan position, and Republicans want her fired just because she didn't do what they wanted her to do. But Democrats aren't falling for these political games. Here's Congressman Robert Garcia talking about what's at stake.
I think the Senate's finding out what we in the House, the Democrats already know. This is a horrific bill, much of it unconstitutional. A lot of it will not pass through the parliamentarian. And the Senate now is struggling with this idea that what this actual bill is trying to do is to rip away health care for 16 million Americans. It's trying to take away food assistance for low-income families across the country. And the parliamentarian is right to strip out these provisions. And we're going to see what the Senate's going to try to do. But at the end of the day, every American should know that this bill is all about taking away health care and then giving away a huge wealth transfer to the richest people in this country.
And while Republicans continue to push Trump's attacks on Medicaid through Congress, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed what Americans have known all along. Donald Trump couldn't care less about if you have health care or not. Let's take a listen.
If the final bill that the president's been talking about comes to him and it has Medicaid cuts in it, will he sign it, or would he rather just Congress do away with those cuts?
I think our friends in both the Senate and the House know exactly where the president stands on Medicaid. He wants to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse, and they are working to do that in the Senate right now.
See, she couldn't even say whether or not Trump would veto Medicaid cuts. Despite the facts we know, Trump is lying through his teeth about his plans to gut Medicaid.
And we're going to also cut costs. We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill, and you're not going to feel any of it. And your Medicaid is left alone. It's left the same. Your Medicare and your Social Security are strengthened. We're not cutting. The Democrats are going to destroy all three of them because it's not sustainable. They'll end up cutting your Medicare, Medicaid in half.
Mr. President, we call bullshit. Donald Trump and Republicans are only worried about themselves. If we lose our health care, so what? They don't care. As long as their billionaire buds are happy, they're good. Democrats, on the other hand, are standing up and fighting back to protect our health care from getting cut. And the Trump administration's also busy taking an axe to Social Security's workforce. And it's starting to show. Earlier this month, the Social Security agency stopped publicly reporting its processing time for benefits, the 1-800 number's current call wait time, and other really important performance metrics. There are millions of Americans who rely on Social Security, and these delays on top of the staffing shortages from the DOGE cuts earlier this year, they're going to drastically affect their ability to receive benefits. Let's take a listen to Representative Judy Chu from California on how it has been affecting her community.
Since the beginning of this administration, more than 7,000 Social Security Administration employees have been fired or forced out. These cuts were done even though SSA was already at a 50-year staffing low, and the result has been disastrous, with countless reports across the country about longer waiting times, backlogs, and delays at SSA. I've heard from constituents in my district who can't get their issues resolved because every time they call, they are put on hold for multiple hours, only for the line to eventually just hang up on them.
Democrats have been sounding the alarm on this issue for months, and they're not going to stop. Here's Representative Greg Casar from Texas.
We just learned about a huge news scandal that every senior in America needs to hear about. After Trump and Musk made massive cuts to the staff at the Social Security Administration, they've scrubbed government websites of information about how long it takes to get your phone call answered. They have erased from the websites the delays that it takes to process benefit claims. They have wiped away what used to be publicly available about how long it takes to respond to a 1-800 call at the Social Security Administration. This is a cover-up. And why are they covering it up? Because wait times have exploded. A brave whistleblower just estimated that Trump's changes and Elon Musk's cuts have doubled the amount of time it takes to process a Social Security claim. Everybody needs to hear about it. Social Security is not Elon Musk's piggy bank.
Rep. Casar is right. This is a cover-up. The Trump administration is hiding the disastrous effects of Musk's DOGE cuts from the American people. And who is that ultimately hurting? It's seniors, especially in rural areas, who have contributed and worked hard to earn Social Security their entire lives. Senator Elizabeth Warren sums up the current chaos best.
When Elon Musk and Donald Trump come in with a chainsaw and they're firing people and creating chaos, two things happen. The number of mistakes goes up, and the people there to help you get them fixed goes down. And that's bad for everyone who counts on Social Security.
See, here's the bottom line. The Trump administration is severely disrupting the Social Security Administration, putting benefits for 73 million working families at risk while giving tax handouts to the ultra-wealthy. And as Senate Republicans continue to decide just how far they're willing to go in cutting essential services like Medicaid, it's more important than ever to remind them that a vote to cut Medicaid will be remembered at the ballot box. Whether it's calling them out online or calling their office, pressure them to vote no. If you live in a state with a Republican senator, text CALL to 43367. Thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of the Daily Blueprint.